right, Al. Next would be Mr. Michael Morone, County Coordinator Report.
Get the mic just in case.
All right, Commissioners, we already addressed 1 and 2. Let's move on to item number 3, board action to authorize the chairman's signature on a contract with ARC Master Builders Incorporated to complete phase 2 of the renovation project for the Fort Coombs Armory and Convention Center. This phase will involve the leveling of the floor in the main room and perhaps the renovation of the front door entrance. The ARC and Master Builders was the only contractor that responded to the November 15th request for proposal. The contract is for $146,880. And that, I know you're saying just the floors, leveling the floors, that is not an easy job.
What I'm understanding is only like 16 inches for them to get under there and do anything.
Yes.
So they're gonna be on their belly crawling under that floor to try to,
Ooh, I wouldn't be able,
they'd have to put a rope on my foot to pull me back out.
Who knows what they'll find in the 15 feet.
I couldn't take it either.
But this is through the historic.
Oh, yes,
grant.
ma'am. I'm sorry. It's
Yeah.
all grant funds. I
I
should have
I make a
included
motion
that.
to go ahead and approve it.
All grant funds.
We have a motion by Commissioner Sanders. We have a second by Commissioner Jones. Any further discussion? All those in favor? All opposed? Motion carries.
Item 4, something we've all been waiting for, board action to approve change order number 2 and pay request number 4 and number 5 to close out the county's paving project with C.W. Roberts. Change order number 2 is a deductive change order that subtracts the quantities not used and the cost of the estuary parking lot that will be paid by the University of Florida directly. Pay requests 4 and 5 will finish out the bill quantities and pay the retainage, which means pay, that's the final pay request. I will get with the finance office and update the board on each district's balances by adding the amounts from the 2015-2016 fiscal year and the 2016-2017 budget years at a future meeting. Basically, some of the subtraction gives you guys some money in your amounts for each district, and then, you know, from October 1 until about now, there's some more money that's been added in there. I'll get those totals to each of you and see if there's change orders you might want to do with that.
One question real quick, just for clarification. Clay, you've reviewed all this and you're fine with it?
Yes, sir.
Yep.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
We have a motion on the floor by Commissioner Sanders,
Second.
second by Commissioner Massey. Any further discussion? All those in favor? All opposed? That motion carries.
Item 5, board action to approve an emergency expenditure from the CDBG grant. While Ms. Belcher was finalizing Ms. Harriet Beach's CDBG project, a drain backup occurred. It was determined that there was a problem with tree roots in her septic tank. The tank was pumped and the tree roots were dug out. The cost of this expenditure was $622. Ms. Belcher made staff aware of this emergency before spending the funds. So it was an emergency. She approached us, you know, Mark and I looked at it and told her, go ahead. Now I'm bringing it to the board for,
$622.
yes, ma'am.
And it would be kept covered underneath the CDBG?
Yes, this is
money?
part of her funds.
I make a motion.
Second.
We have a motion on the floor by Commissioner Massey, second by Commissioner Sanders. Any further discussion? All those in favor? All opposed? That motion carries.
Next item, on December 1st, Mark Puritan attended a meeting in Chipley with FDOT about recertifying Franklin County to participate in local agency program. By being certified, Franklin County is eligible to receive federal funds that pass through FDOT for local projects. Some of the lab projects, Franklin County has received in the past have been the repaving and widening of Bluff Road, Carroll Beach Multi-Use Path, the design of sidewalks along Tallahassee Street and South Bayshore Drive. The recertification process this time will be much more involved and thorough than it has been in the past. One thing that Mark will need assistance with is preparing man-hour estimates for negotiating professional services contracts for design and construction of engineering inspections. Our current consulting engineers, Dewberry Preble-Rish, cannot provide this service because their firm generally wants to bid on the design of the projects. Does the board want to advertise for the individual or firm to provide this assistance on lab projects as necessary? The cost of the assistance can be paid out of the lab grants. So, in the past, we were able to get the assistance of Dewberry Preble-Rish to help us with calculating the man hours. That can't happen anymore.
Yeah, the DOT is basically separating engineering further away from the clients, and so we're now having somebody else come.
I made a motion to give them the authority to go out and get whoever they need to, or advertise for.
We have a motion on the floor by Commissioner Sanders, second by Commissioner Jones. Discussion. I do have one thing, Mike.
Yes, sir.
Now, as I discussed this with you yesterday, that's like if Pebble Ridge, like with Bluff Road, they didn't engineer the widening of Bluff Road, so they were able to do the inspection.
Yes.
But what we're trying to do now is get somebody to come in, so if Pebble Ridge engineers something, they're not able to do the inspection. So what we want to do is get somebody in our, so that they can come in and do the inspections on these things when the Pebble Ridge
Well, they can
designs
do the
them.
design, but,
On the other side,
This
part
is
of
the
it-
third step, this is the
Yeah,
third step.
where the man hours has to be calculated, and
They
the
can't
DOT
help us, this
says,
other
no, you
firm
can't,
will.
yeah.
Right.
So,
But it's the same idea, though, it's exactly what you're talking
so
about.
we're gonna get the benefit of two different
Firms,
things here.
yes,
Okay.
yes,
I think it's good to do that.
probably.
Two.
In the long run, it is.
It is, because there's gonna be a lot of projects that we have coming up in the future that your engineer of record is not gonna be able to do. You have to go out, so, and we got some good choices.
So it gives them a
too.
backup, yes, ma'am.
Yeah,
Let
we
me
got
say
some
one
good
thing, and
choices.
Clay might want to chime on. In fact, the Bluff Road project is a good example. In fact, DOT used that sort of back in front of us because, and it's no fault of the engineers, had there been some more accurate cost estimates when we submitted the grant approval about how big the project was, then DOT would have known the scope of the project, and they wouldn't have been, and once we got into it, as you may recall, there was a huge expense that they had to come find money for after we started the project.
Like that big culvert.
That
culvert,
big culvert.
drain,
So
yeah,
this,
under-
the
yeah.
idea behind this, by getting a better estimates up front, is that DOT won't be caught with a surprise at the end.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, we do have a motion and a second on the floor. All those in favor? All opposed? That motion carries.
Inform the board that the county received $2,400 in Bearwise funding from FWC. These funds will be used to retrofit trash cans primarily in the East Point area. FWC and county staff, along with some volunteers, will install these kits. Additional retrofit kits will be available throughout the county for those who would like to do a do-it-yourself installation. I've been told that these kits are easy to install and do not interfere with trash collection.
Can I ask a question on that, Mr. Chairman? Thanks. Why were we $2,400 when some of those counties got 100 and something thousand?
Well, a lot of it had to do, Commissioner, with the criteria, where it was available for us. When we were able to sit down with FWC and actually work out this application, it was last minute, I will admit that. So a lot of that played into why we only got 24.
Well, if we can't, because, I mean, it's very apparent this is bear country, and if we can find a way of getting more funding to help the citizens to bear-proof their garbage cans, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Not only that, to expand upon your comments, Commissioner Sanders, is that some of these counties were using some of these bear-proof containers in restaurants that have dumpsters.
Yes.
Now, we were having that issue in East Point, where some of these bears were going around to some of the local restaurants. Is that in,
You can, and that's the problem, because it was done in such a late fashion. I wanted to go and deal with some of the restaurants in East Point to give them, but it required a lot more time to sit down with the restaurant owner and explain to them, give us permission to do, because that's their trash can.
is that something that we can move forward
In the
on,
future,
though? I mean, we
most
can't do it
definitely.
today, but it's something
Yes.
we can look to try to improve upon in the
Definitely.
future?
Yes.
Because I know that was a big issue in some of the restaurants in East Point. These bears were going in neighborhoods where some of these restaurants were and going through their dumpsters where they throwing out food and stuff in these dumpsters.
Yeah.
So not so much a trash can, but in the bigger dumpsters.
Yeah, the dumpsters itself. Yeah,
You
which
have
is a
to
whole
get some
different
different
kit.
locks, cause what the mayor had the city Carabel, they put a little trash can on the side of the road.
Mhm.
They're not gonna go on the big dumpster, they just mount on the little, green dumpsters, the roll around.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I just want to bring that to your attention, Mike, as you're dealing with FWC, that that's something I'd like for us to look at
Yeah,
and maybe get some of these restaurants to participate with us to alleviate that issue.
yeah. And another matter, as I think about it, in the beginning, they were talking about, they wanted us to approve this, that ordinance.
And we didn't do that.
And we didn't, so that
Probably
kinda
why we
like-
got less funding.
Yeah,
I think that did contribute to
Yeah,
that.
that contributed to how much
Could
we could
be.
get to, because there are two pots, and if you got your ordinance done and submitted it, you had a,
Well, now
chance to
you
get
got
to
almost
bigger-
a whole year to work on it,
Mhm.
and you won't be caught by surprise like you
I hope
was this
so.
last time.
And also, when you do the ordinance, I think your you gotta put county funds in there also.
Yeah.
And I think that's a hamper for us, because we didn't budget any funds, and it kind of, it's just, you'd have to increase taxes in order to, if you're gonna spend more money, you gotta increase your revenue, so
Gotta come from somewhere, Commissioner.
that's something we'll have to continue to work on.
Okay. At the last meeting, I informed the board that Senator Mumford sent the forms for the county 27th legislative budget request. Commissioner Sanders suggested that I contact Representative Beshear's office, Ms. Vicky Summerhill, as the new Speaker of the House has instituted new rules for budget requests. In summary, budget requests will be appropriations that must be submitted by a member of the House. This appropriation will become an appropriation project bill draft and pass a subcommittee or committee to be eligible to become part of the House budget. Then the appropriation project is eligible to be included in the conference report on the General Appropriations Act. However, an appropriation project can also be eligible to be on the conference report by being filed in the House as an appropriation project bill. I gathered all this information from the My Florida House Gov website with Ms. Summerhill's assistance. Basically, Commissioners, it's not as easy as it used to be. I mean, this is strictly on the House side, Commissioners, not on the Senate side. The Senate side is still the same. Actually, they did an upgrade. I just got an email yesterday. They amended the Senate's budget request forms, but nothing big. House side, I got pages and pages to fill out, Commissioner. So I really need us to come together on some projects we want to submit, and let me start working on it, because it's not going to be easy. I don't want the board to get disillusioned and say, well, why bother,
Well, it concerned me because because the Speaker of the House was putting these limitations on the members, but then and saying it needed to be through an agency or filed through an agency. And the agency's budgets went in October. So,
Yeah.
I'm just, they're doing things different now. I don't know.
Which rolls to my next item, that we'll have a chance to discuss this further, because the legislative delegation with Senator Mumford and Representative Beshear will be on January 5th at 7 p.m. in the main commission room where we meet. So at that point, we can kind of drill Representative Beshear a little bit and say, look, what's going on? What can we do to kind of help move this process along? So I'll be there. I'll remind you guys again on because we meet on the Tuesday before the legislative delegation meeting. Item 10, inform the board, the staff received notification yesterday that the grant cycle for Small County Outreach Program, SCOP, and the County Incentive Grant Program, SIGP, as Mark told me is pronounced, has started. I recommend each of you discuss with staff the criteria for each of these programs before recommending projects for submission. The cycle will end in March of 2017. And Mr. Pierce is going to tell you why we need to discuss it.
That's the application cycle. So we have a couple months to kind of put some projects together. But Commissioner Jones, for the sort of the situation we're in now, Franklin County has been pretty lucky and been pretty aggressive in getting grants. But the grants are reviewed by DOT. We put in road projects, and DOT then reviews them and calibrates how bad the roads are. Well, over the years, we've done pretty well in getting most of the large segments of roads paved already. So if you look around the county, what we try to do is get the biggest road and have the state help pay for it. And so Gulf Beach Drive is an example. Twin Lakes Road, all the larger road segments in your district have been done through this grant program, because that's the best use of funds. As we come down to this new year, I will say there aren't that many long road segments left for us to do. One of the things you would think perhaps immediately is, well, let's do some unpaved roads. Unfortunately, DOT ranks the paving of unpaved roads as the lowest priority. So we have tried that before to put unpaved roads on the list, and it's taken years to get there. I'm not saying we can't do it, because we did succeed with part of
Mill Road.
Mill Road. But part of that road is already paved, and so we're paving a section, and then we're adding on to that. But if you start with an unpaved road to begin with, we've had a very difficult time. In fact, we've had zero success in getting an unpaved road paved with state money. So I just say that to you as you're thinking through your districts where you want to do it. I think we can submit 2 in one category and 1 in another. So we have 3 projects out of 5 districts that could get something done. But we try and get the biggest ones with state money. Now, having said that, sometimes it takes several years to get there, so you have to be patient.
Where we at on the Mill Road? I mean, what's?
It's in the, it's in the system.
Yeah, they surveying.
Yeah, I would say, I think it's 2018 is the contract year for construction. It might be this coming year, 2017, but I think it's 2018. But it's in the 5-year
We'll
work
pull up the
plan.
work plan, Commissioner, I'll pull that up for you.
It'll be early summer.
Okay, so,
Of 2017?
Yes.
okay, all
That's what
right.
they-
Okay, good, good. That's right, because
Yeah,
the
they
budget
said-
year starts
Yeah.
July 1. Okay, yeah.
Right.
Good.
Yeah, I hope you get that.
So-
And then see, you've also got scrap this year because we did the gas tax like we did. So you're also gonna have the program, scrap.
Yes, they haven't notified us, and I don't know if that's because our gas tax doesn't go into effect until January 1. I
That's
don't know
why.
how that.
But y'all, that is very, very competitive.
Right.
The most competitive project they got. And you're going up against all those counties.
I mean, I got a road I want us to look at, but I'll wait. We'll discuss all this later, like you.
So think about big roads if you have any in your district.
Mine's still 67,
Yeah.
you know, Highway 67.
Yeah.
That's where that money's going.
Hey, Commissioner, the next item, item 11, inform the board that FDOT would like to be placed on the agenda to make presentations regarding their scrap, and SIGP programs. Is the board interested in hearing this presentation? Not for me, I'd love to. I think for Commissioner Jones, it'll be a really good thing. I know most of you guys are already pretty much knowledgeable of the
No, I'd be-
programs. but
I'd
I'd
be-
love
I'd
to
be
have
into-
them come down.
Anytime we can have discussion.
Okay.
I'm good with that.
All right.
He may know some things we don't know.
Yeah, you can answer some questions
Yeah.
more directly for us.
That's exactly right.
Okay. Item 12, inform the board that I attended a Career Source of Florida Sector Strategies Technical Assistance Workshop on Thursday, December 12th. At this workshop, sector-based approaches and practices for workforce development was explained. Quoting Ms. Andra Cornelius, she's the Senior Vice President of Business and Workforce Development at Career Source Florida, this industry-focused approach to building a skilled workforce is among the most effective ways to align public and private resources to address the talent needs of employees. I'll continue to update the board, end quote, I'll continue to update the board on the benefits to Franklin County workforce as Career Source progresses with this new approach. It's really a really good approach. We just have to get employers here in Franklin County to offer, and then we can match the talent that we have. and the
Which is
training.
what we've discussed on many boards, as
Yes,
we're
sir.
doing these 3 different studies we got going on and everything else, and trying to attract new business in jobs for the people here in Franklin County. We're definitely gonna have to train some people. But bringing jobs here and filling them with people from out of the county is not helping us.
No,
So this is exactly,
Yeah.
I'd like for you to continue going to these meetings and addressing these issues and being informed as county staff as to how we put all this together.
okay.
Let me go to one thing. I wonder, is it possible DOT is coming down? Because one of the things they have not yet responded to is our letter about Alligator Point Road having the state take it over.
Well, that's a discussion we can have.
Yeah, we can have, it seemed like a general thing that
Okay.
they're going to other counties too. just
Okay,
to
I didn't know
discuss
whether they were,
different programs.
whether they were gonna come
But-
down and suggest something, you know, I don't know. Because they never have responded. We made a request for the state of Florida to take over that road since the state of Florida built that road.
And then gave it to us. And we've had nothing but problems ever since, and we don't have the revenues that they have and the ability to keep this thing going, so.
But we won't tell them we're gonna ask them that till they're
Okay.
here, how's that?
Okay.
Then they will change their mind and they won't come.
Anytime you can have discussion with DOT though,
Yeah.
on a host of different issues, and it opens up communication and helps you build relationships,
That's
it's
a
a good
positive
thing.
thing.
It's a good thing.
I agree with you, sir. I agree with you. This is more for the public's knowledge, but inform the board and the public that there's a link on the county's website that allows contractors and the general public to view the results of their inspection request. There are 2 ways to get there on the website. If you're in the planning and building page already on the county's website, scroll down to the building services. At the end of that paragraph, you're going to see a view inspection report. The other option is to go at the front homepage, go under resources and click on inspection report link. As we develop to put more information out on the website and use it more often, that's less traffic, less phone calls into the office, and it works out great for everybody, commissioners. Finally, board action to approve travel and expenses for the chairman and county attorney to attend the FAC Amendment 2 conference. Ever since the passage of Amendment 2, which is the Florida Medical Marijuana legalization initiative, county staff has received requests for information on zoning and other restrictions for storefronts. Apparently, so have other Florida counties. So the Florida Association of Counties has scheduled a summit on Saturday, February 4th, 2017. Yes, I did say Saturday, Commissioners, it's on a Saturday, where industry and policy experts will provide insight into Florida's emerging medical marijuana industry. Now, yeah, Commissioner, I am getting emails, and people want to know, okay,
yeah.
where can I put it? I'm right open to, we need to.
Well, they need to let our own local folks take care of that. Look, I mean,
Okay.
trying to be, I'm trying to be, I mean, this is an industry, and it's a big industry, and I mean,
Yeah.
there's a lot of people that can be employed in this industry if they just do the right thing.
There was a kid that graduated, a young man from Carabel, Daniel Morris, Daryl Morris.
Uh-huh.
Lives in,
West Virginia,
now
down
he's moved to, Fort Myers. He called me last week, needs a building 40,000 square foot, wants to do it. Said he can hire 30 to 40 million guaranteed, put them to work, need to
Yeah.
build it that size.
But I'm recommending you send it to the chairman of the county attorney, because I mean, if FAC is putting on a summit and they're bringing industry leaders and professionals to discuss this, obviously other counties are asking for the same thing. So I really think we need to
I make a
be.
motion to approve travel and stay or whatever for whoever wants to go, any of the commissioners that wants to go or
Yeah, in
staff.
addition to
Where's it at?
I thought
Orange
it was Fort
County.
Myers.
Orange County, yeah, no, I thought it was in Orange County. somewhere.
Osceola.
Osceola,
Is
sorry.
it-
Ain't it?
I said, well, I got my-
Somewhere in central
I
Florida.
think it's
Yeah.
Osceola County.
Okay.
It's somewhere central Florida.
We have a motion on the floor by Commissioner Sanders,
Second.
second by Commissioner Massey. Any further discussion? All those in favor? All opposed? That motion carries. Now, having, on that particular topic, I was watching the news last night in Bay County, has issued a moratorium over there because you got all these people that are implying, or calling Mr. Morone, wanting to know where they can do it, what the regulations are. And the news report said that they thought it would be 9 months before the state actually drafts, the regulations and all, and what pertains to this new, amendment that was adopted last year during the voting. So they're looking at 9 months probably before the state actually draws up all the regulations regarding this medical marijuana. So they've issued a moratorium until they get the zoning and stuff straightened out of where all the stuff can be located. They cannot do anything that's contrary to the law that was passed, but they do have to make sure it's adopted and done the right way. So we cannot reverse the law, we can only make sure we got it in the right zoning category and the right places that we want to see it happen. So, that's just kind of an update of what they've done in Bay County. And there's a number of counties in the state of Florida that's already done the moratorium. Not, in Bay County, they actually said they had a bunch of people calling saying, well, my son needs medical, and y'all trying to outlaw it. No, the moratorium does not outlaw the law that was passed by the people. But we're trying to do a moratorium, or we should do a moratorium, so that we can get our zoning and these other issues straightened out to address the current law.
I agree with you.
I think
That's
the
what I was going
attorney,
to request of the commissioners. Right now, we have no zoning in place that regulates these medical marijuana dispensaries. I wanted to ask the board, did you want me to, or would you authorize me to conduct a public hearing to impose the moratorium until you can develop the appropriate zoning to implement the law that the voters just passed on Amendment 2?
What do you, Michael, what do you think it's gonna take?
Well, right now, we have nothing on the books, and we are getting people coming in. So my recommendation would be that you authorize me to conduct a public hearing for you to consider imposing a moratorium. Then you can develop the zoning laws to regulate medical marijuana dispensaries. Where are they going to be located? How they're going to be operated is going to be regulated by the state. I would presume that they have assumed the field. You can't impose any local regulations on how to operate it, but you can, through your zoning, regulate where it's going to be located. But we don't have any zoning in place right now, and so I would suggest that we impose the moratorium. The board then conduct public hearings over a 6 to 9 month period to develop your zoning laws on this issue.
We need to get something in effect, that doctor's gonna be calling either the city or Franklin County, the county, Daryl Morris. 'Cause
Okay.
he's the one who, got the health program going, the diet program down in South Florida.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't heard from that one yet. I've heard.
He'll,
from a couple-
he calls me quite regular. I graduated with him, or school with him, and
Right. And I've had a couple of lobbyists that, they're attorneys / lobbyists that came to my office a couple of months ago on this issue. And I was just basically waiting to see what the voters did before we took any action.
Well, as far as the growing and all, you're not gonna really have that many people that can do any of that if they want to here, because it's all state land, and I know.
it's gotta be growing a building.
Yeah.
It's gotta be
But
putting a big
what I'm
building.
saying is, you don't know what aspects they're gonna be looking at.
All right, well, these lobbyists actually represent one of the 6 licensed growers statewide.
And the emails I've been getting is more about the storefronts, where can they sell it, and what zoning, what are the restrictions? So they're asking questions that I really don't have the answers to be
They're
very
ready
honest
to
with
get
you.
started.
But I also do know the effects of what it does to help people also too, the medical side of it. So,
And that's kind of what this,
The summit,
the summit is all
Sure.
about, to network with other counties and what they're hearing from the state and trying to figure out what we need to do, but that's a different issue of the moratorium. And we do need, I think we do need to take action, so we're gonna need a motion from the board here to direct the attorney to move forward with that.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
We have a motion on the floor by Commissioner Massey, second by Commissioner Commissioner Jones, to allow the attorney to proceed with his recommendations of how we need to move forward with this. Any other comments? All in favor? All opposed? That motion carries.
One other item for the board, this is going to take some time to have a public hearing for the board to consider whether to adopt the moratorium ordinance. So my follow-up recommendation is that you, by motion, declare a zoning in progress motion so that your staff, if we should receive any applications, you would not process them until after your moratorium process is concluded and your zoning is in place. So the motion would be to declare zoning in progress and directing staff not to process any applications for medical marijuana dispensaries until you have concluded or the expiration of your moratorium period.
Pleasure of the board.
Need a motion on it?
I need a motion on
I'll make
this.
that motion.
Okay, make a motion.
We got a motion on the floor by Commissioner Jones, second by Commissioner Massey. Any further discussion? All those in favor? All opposed? That motion carries also.
Thank you, Commissioners, and I have no report for the board, so unless the board has any questions for me this morning, Merry Christmas.
I also wish y'all Merry Christmas, I'll send you my report. Don't forget the pan care ribbon cutting at, yeah, 12 o'clock. I think it's at the health department, right?
Oh.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Michael,
Ma'am?
we were discussing, so you gonna let the board know when you're gonna take your time off and
Yes,
all that?
yes,
Okay.
I'll have that ready for you by the next meeting for sure.
Okay, and nothing's gonna be,
And, yeah, but I got no bucket list, I'm not going. and-
oh, you're not going nowhere.
That, no.
Okay, we're down to, any other comments from Michael? We're down to commissioner comment.
I'll go first then. Just wish everybody out in Franklin County and everywhere a very Merry Christmas, and remember the reason for the season.
I wish everybody a Merry Christmas.
I would like to do the same for the Jones family.
On behalf of the chairman and the rest of the board, we do wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a safe holiday. We are down now to public comment. Please come forward, state your name for the record.
Hello, I'm Brenda Lapaz, Mayor of Carabel, and I'd like to wish you all a Merry Christmas and Merry Christmas. I want to say we're glad you're here in Carabel, bringing the government to the people, like Commissioner Sanders always says. We appreciate that over here in Carabel. And we also appreciate the wonderful roadway paving projects that happened in our city this spring in Commissioner Sanders' district and Commissioner Massey's district. Our citizens are enjoying those new paving projects that some of those streets were not paved in 30 or 40 years. And we also appreciate the opportunity of you allowing the city to piggyback on those projects. And we funded a few roadways paved ourselves here with your project, ongoing project. And We appreciate the ongoing county assistance with our right-of-way debris management. That's a major item that you all help us with, and I just want to let you know we appreciate that. And the fact that you just addressed the recertification to participate in the LAP program. We use Mark Currington on LAP projects, just like the Tallahassee sidewalk project that's about to happen next year. Then, before you leave, I'd ask you all to take a drive down Marine Street and see all the new and ongoing improvements that have happened there. It's been completely resurfaced along with Southeast Avenue E and Southeast Avenue B. We have scheduled for next year Southeast Avenue C to be paved. And we had stormwater retrofit or drainage management funded there on Marine Street by the Northwest Florida Management District. But the paving and blighted building removal there on the Marine Street Triangle with a new parking lot for boats and trailers, trucks and boat trailers is in a design phase. And you'll see some building facade improvements there, and all of that is funded with the CRA fund. It's in the CRA Community Redevelopment District, which is partly funded with increment tax revenues from the county. And I just want to say that we appreciate that, and I'd like you to take a look at how those funds are being spent. And I wish you all a Happy New Year. Happy New Year, Mr. Schuler, Ms. Johnston. And we'll look forward to working together with you all next year. Thank you.
Any other public comment? No further public comment, meeting adjourned.
That's all, folks.